it's interesting about live performances because I had a lot of interesting experiences going to live performances, and I'll never forget. A lot of them were pretty good. I've never been to a concert in which I walked out and said, this show sucks so bad, I'm leaving. There was only one time I did that, and that was a Killing Joke concert. The reason why I walked out of the Killing Joke concert was because the lead singer, I was seeing them at the Cabaret Metro. The lead singer did the Killing Joke did a Q101 concert 3 hours earlier, and he apparently sang so hard that he blew his voice out. But he still had to do this Cabaret Metro show at midnight. When he got on stage, his voice was such a croaking mess and so painful to listen to. I just told my friend, I can't take this. I got to leave. It was hurting me to listen to him. The only other show that I walked out on, I wouldn't say walked out, I ran out basically to protect my life. It was a GG Allin concert at the Exit. Okay, so you might want to brace yourself on this one. Okay. GG Allin was performing at the Exit that night, and this was after he had just gotten out of jail. He had gotten out of prison because he had been convicted of handcuffing a concert goer to a radiator and trying to douse her with lighter fluid and set her on fire. Okay, now there's two things with that. Number one, GG Allin's was an unstable motherfucker to begin with. You don't believe me? Watch the documentary called Hated, which was directed by Todd Phillips, who did the Hangover movies. And okay, you know his reputation. He was the guy that he was a punk rocker that was very, very nihilistic, that called himself a human animal, that would take a shit, that he would take a shit on stage and throw it at you, or drink his own piss, or dive at you, or cut himself on stage while he's wearing a thong. Okay. Some people enjoy watching that. Now, at the time, I liked the psychotic weirdness of that, but I had only heard albums and seen videotape of it. This was the 90s. Videotape. Okay, it's made out of tape. It's this analog thing, which was in a very big, bulky thing that you stuck in a machine, and they were pretty heavy. They were tape, and you hit a button. Okay, there was no streaming back then. Now, GG had gotten out of jail. My friend at the time, Kevin Jr. from the Chamber Strings, Kevin used to be his guitarist for one of GG's bands called the Murder Junkies. And so we went there to go see GG because we just wanted to see him. And I'll never forget it. We're hanging out in the back of the Exit. We're all talking, hanging out. GG, who's, scarred up, no teeth, scary looking dude, is just talking to us, and we're hanging out, and we're fine, and this and that. And then finally, as it gets closer to the time he has to perform, he starts popping X-Lax and taking off his pants and all this stuff. And I'm like, hey, GG, like, when you get out there, who's going to be your target? Who are you going to go after? And he went, I'm going to go after everybody. Now, I'm going to pull back for a second. Okay, now I just told you what GG Allin does on stage. One of his major things he was planning to do at this point, one of his major concert decisions that he was going to do was he was supposed to kill himself on stage. In fact, he was going to do it in one of two ways. He was going to go out there with a semi-automatic and shoot up the audience and then himself, or he was going to stick a live grenade up his ass and dive into the audience. Okay, knowing this, I'm at the Exit with GG Allin. Duh. So he said, and I say, who are you going to target? Everybody. Okay, well, we know he doesn't have any weapons on him because we've been with him for an hour and a half. Okay, so what is going to happen? There were three types of people that walked into the Exit in the audience that day. Okay. First type, the ones that walked into the exit knowing they were going to a GG Allin concert and knowing what they were getting themselves into. That's one part. Second type, people like me who are aware that they went to a GG Allin concert, kind of knew what we were going to get ourselves into, but it wasn't going to be that bad. He just got out of jail. He wasn't going to do anything stupid, was he? And then there's the third type. The exit at the time was located on North Avenue and Wells, right across the street from Second City. Third type of audience that walked in that night. The people that happened to be wandering around in that neighborhood and maybe walked out of Second City and went, hey, that's the club Exit. I hear that's a pretty crazy place. Let's go in there. Never mind, on the front of the door, there was a sign that night in black marker that said, enter at your own risk. This is a GG Allin concert. The problem with group of people number 3, they were the ones dumb enough to be closer to GG Allin when what was about to happen happens. Okay. Damn. This brings back some fucking memories. Okay. GG Allin, okay, his band, consisting of one of the people of his brother, as the guitarist, walks out on stage. And he goes, I got 3 drink tickets here. Who here is willing to give me a blowjob? Is it you? And he runs. Now, by this time, he's buck naked in his underwear, and he's just ate a handful of X-Lax. You see where this is about to go? Okay, now he goes and runs towards a group of people, and they run to the right side of the stage. Then he tries to run to the right side of the stage. Everybody moves to the left side of the room. And everybody is now scared shitless going, what the fuck did we just get ourselves into? The band starts playing, and he goes, well, if you ain't going to have some of this, how about some of this? He starts peeing in his hand and drinking it and throwing it. Then he starts taking a shit and throwing the diarrhea at the people. Now the band starts playing, okay? And every time he's screaming into the mic and taking his shit and throwing it at people, people are running in opposite directions. It's pandemonium. It's basically a riot. And luckily I haven't been hit with any of this bodily functions or nothing, because I'm fast enough to move. And because I'm much more... because I seem to be much more quick with my reflexes, everybody is following my lead because, well, it seems like Jay knows how to move from this guy. Let's follow him. But I'm meanwhile going, how the fuck do I get out of here? There was a problem with the exit. There was only one way in and out. GG keeps blocking the entrance so that we can't get away from him. So here he is coming at us. At this point, he's covered in shit and piss. He's screaming into his mic. The band is going full throttle. The audience is scared to death. Actually, I remember a yuppie looking at me going, oh my God, I'm scared. I'm scarred for life. What the fuck did I just get myself into? I couldn't figure a way out because there's only one way out, to my knowledge. Now, there could have been an exit behind the bar, but they weren't telling us where the alternate exits were because we were screaming, how do we get out? How do we get out? How do we get out? It now gets to a point, GG locks eyes with me, and he comes charging at me. Luckily, there's a pool table between us, and he leaps and dives onto this pool table and starts squirming around. That was my cue to run straight for this exit, out the door and on the street with 80 other people behind me. We all land into the front on Wells Street in a big-ass pile. I remember this vividly, and at some point, I didn't know this, Richard Roper was in the neighborhood, the columnist, and he saw that. And he talked about it in his column. You want to know? What else about that concert? I consider that one of the best concerts I've ever seen. You know why? Because I never fucking forgot that show. It runs right up there with my first 2 failed marriages. They may have scarred me for life, but I remember that shit. Okay? That is kind of entertainment. I mean, you can't. I knew what I was getting myself into, kind of, when I did that. But, I mean, I don't want to say it wasn't a bad show. And the funny thing, and what I just described to you, I took a while to describe that to you. All that happened in about 6 minutes. Okay? Now, so in other words, I only saw 6 minutes of show. I didn't see anything, really. I was too busy running from shit, literally. But that was all in 6 minutes' time. Now, from what I remember, the show lasted about 45 minutes long before they finally decided to pull the plug, and I think it ended at one point my friend getting punched in the face and his glasses being broken. I mean, so I guess that's entertainment.